You leave with a 60-point game, and we had a chance to talk right after the game. Very few people can leave like that, but does it cause you to retrace in your brain, perhaps I can still do this, maybe I'm leaving a little bit too early instead of a little bit too soon?
It could, but I consider myself very lucky because I didn't stop playing the game because I didn't feel like I could play at a certain level anymore. I stopped playing because I just didn't want to do it anymore. I think it's just part of evolution. I felt like I wanted to move on to something else. And my passion and my focus started shifting towards what comes next versus being completely obsessed with the game itself. So I had that inner comfort of walking away from the game. Nothing to do with scoring 60 or 50 or whatever the case may be. That was completely irrelevant to me. I remember being extremely excited, but also being extremely focused because there was a lot of talk as to whether or not I was making the right decision. And there's a lot of people that were saying I was going to be a failure. And so I remember my concentration being extremely, extremely high and not having even one day to really enjoy it or celebrate it. I was back at the gym and working extremely hard because I felt like there was just so much at stake. Well, it's funny, like as a kid, I was growing up and saying, I want to be the greatest that ever played, right? And then as you get older, you start understanding that there's no real answer to that, right? And I found a lot of comfort once I realized that my goal really is to be the best player I can be. And then what that means helping my teammates be the best players that they can be. And once I figured that out, then my game went to another level. Trial and error. It was a process. I mean, you keep banging your head into a wall, eventually you're going to try to look for the door and the key, and so that's what I had to do. And it was a lot of research for me. It was a lot of reading, it was a lot of studying, it was a lot of listening and try to really figure out what makes people tick and how do you motivate your teammates. And it's one thing to say, do this, do that, but how do you really motivate them to the point where they feel where they're the ones asking the questions of how to improve themselves? Like how do you help somebody flip the switch within themselves to want to reach their full potential? And that's really the dance. But for the most part, what I had to become better at was just listening. Just listening, right? The guys they'll tell you how they're feeling. They'll tell you, where their insecurities lie, where their strengths are. You just have to listen. Have to really understand it. And it's hard in professional sports because, like if you watch a game, you watch the teams warm up, right? You'll see players, most of the players are really locked in internally, like they're locked into their own situation, their routine, right? And what I started doing is I started stepping back, and instead of working on this shot, that shot before a game, I started watching what is Powell doing, what is Lamar doing, what is Steve Fish doing. You can kind of see what their temperament is. So it's listening, and it's also observing and taking that all into account. There's that aspect to it, but there's also the aspect where you really have an opportunity to make a lot of people happy. They come up to you in the street and shake your hand. They want to talk about being at the 81-point game or the 60-point game. And you get a chance to make a lot of people happy. So it's easy to look at the negative side of those things, but I think the positives vastly outweigh the negatives. These are choices. Like I made a conscious choice to go after my passion obsessively. Like it's a conscious decision. So it's not like, you missed out on that, you missed out on that. Like, no, I made a choice to consciously miss out on those things because I'd much rather be here.
It's more about the sacrifice, I guess, is the question.
But that's my point. It's not a sacrifice to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a sacrifice. Like, this is my choice. Like, I'd rather do this. Like, if you put a bowl of ice cream in front of the kid and a plate of broccoli, the kid's probably going to eat the ice cream, right? And so to me, the game is the ice cream. To some people on the outside, all this hard work looks like broccoli. It's all perspective. Well, no, but I was the one that was like, listen, at the end of the day, when the career is said and done, I'd be damned if I don't if I lose these championships because I'm playing with a bunch of lazy dudes. This is not happening, right? So either, this train is going this way, one way or the other. You're gonna be on it, you're gonna be off it, or you're gonna be under it. Right? It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. So if I like to motivate players to be better. I don't want to have to motivate you to get in the gym in the first place. If I have to motivate you to get in the gym in the first place, you're probably playing basketball because it was easy for you, or whatever other reason. That's not your true calling. That's not your true passion. Maybe it was something else. And I just want to help you find it someplace else. So you have to balance those things. So every teammate responds differently, right? Like Powell responds differently. You have to be able to push Powell, needle Powell a little bit, understand when to put your arm around him and talk to him. And, it's a fine dance. I mean, you can't treat them all equal. And it goes back to listening. You have to be able to listen to the guys and understand who they are as people, what their journey has been to get to this point. And then from that, you can make decisions in the moment of how to respond to certain situations with them. I grew up, when I growing up overseas, the game wasn't as global then as it is now. And so my grandfather used to record all the games, send me all the games. But the thing that, I don't even know if he knows, but the biggest impact that he had on me was the NBA entertainment division. Because all of the videos that they used to put out, the history of the game, the golden greats, the back-to-back videos, the Come Fly With Me, the Larry Legends, and all that stuff. And I used to sit at home and just digest these things, man. Just digest them. And so, I learned the game so much from those videos. And obviously, what he's done for the game now, it's so international, it's unbelievable. But by that time, I was really, really good at taking negative things and just refocusing. Right? So it didn't linger. I used those things to help me get up at 4 a.m. and hit the track, and then hit the weights, and then get the shots. Like, I use that as a source of motivation for me. So no matter what's said, be it positive or be it negative, when you have the point of view that no matter what is said, it's going to do nothing but fuel my passion, then you really, there's nothing anybody can say that's really going to take you backwards. You know what I mean? Because you just use it all. So, no, but that drive was still there, man. Taking those negative experiences and using them, that was always there, right? So once I had that, once I embraced it, I used it. But I used to read a lot and watch a lot about people who have done phenomenal things or have created great things, and then try to ask, okay, how they did them, and then why. And kind of what was their journey, what's their process, and not so much like the actual executional details of how you create X, Y, and Z, but it's more so the inner journey that they go through. And from that, I was able to learn a lot myself. But I was always, still now, reading a lot and learning a lot.